Hello. I probably need to mute myself. All right. A little bit later than I scheduled to be on, which is funny. I was actually going to put 6:33, but I was like, I'll be ready before then. Then it just happened. I was ready at 6:33 still, anyways. I'm gonna wait a few minutes here so anyone that is coming in the future watching this recorded, skip ahead a few minutes possibly to to get to where I actually start talking about flat Earth in North and South poles, firmament, hot air within the firmament, dimensional traveling, time traveling, moving into different ages or paradigms, body, and the infinite plane. So a lot of people question the infinite plane. If we're in a firmament, how can there be an infinite plane? Which I'll get to. Firmament may not be so physical, but more energetical. I'm still gonna wait. We'll get another couple minutes here for other people to get in. If anyone does want to see this live, this is going to be a very expansive talk on flat Earth, and my hope is that people in the flat Earth community will find their way to this video because they talk about the same things all the time. They're just speculating, which is fine, but the speculation stays physical. It stays within the confines of that we are in a physical world, and they're trying to discover how that would be without even going out and exploring, which is impossible to do at that point. You cannot figure out the shape, the layout of it through maps, through pictures. It's not possible. You would have to actually get out there somehow, one way or another, and explore. And I think people would be very shocked if they actually went and did that. I think they would be confused. What is going on there? It's like in movies a lot. They like to show when people are in the forest or the jungle and they're not used to being out in nature or wherever they are. They don't know their way around, which is how what people would be doing if you're out there exploring the oceans. You don't know your way around that. It's infinity of it's water in every direction. So your only navigation, you're relying on a compass. And if you're relying on a compass, you're not really going to be able to know your exact coordinates. And just like in the movies when they're out in the jungle, it's very similar as being in the middle of water. They they circle around the same area and come back through the same place. Like, weren't we just here? Didn't we just walk past here? How are we going in a circle? How do we get here again? It's a looping mechanism. And this is very much what the earth is. It's we're in an infinite a place with infinite possibilities with the energy that has proceeded. There's endless things that can occur with it. And it's because it's a looping mechanism. It's not leaving, it's not coming. It's just the same energy. It's just being reformed in different ways. And there's a never ending expansion on what it can form. And if that's the case, people say we are infinity. Buzz Lightyear says let's go to infinity and beyond. But when you go beyond infinity, where are you? Do you just end up infinity again? It's like when you go to sleep, you don't remember actually going to sleep. You remember waking up in your dream, or you remember before you went to sleep. You don't remember the actual like when you fell asleep. It's either you get up or you get up somewhere. You wake up in infinity again somewhere. Same concept. Same concept that I'm about to explain with flat Earth, infinite plane. So let's get right into it. I'll try to keep this as condensed as possible. So I don't want to make it really long. So in flat Earth, people like to put the North Pole in the center of it, and the South Pole is everything. The South is just everything that goes away from it. There is no South Pole. The thing is, the North Pole, if your compass is pointing you to go north, and if you're using your compass to go north, you're actually going to the South Pole because the compass uses a magnet and is using the north end of the magnet, which is attracted to that's what north is. It uses the north end of the magnet and is attracted to the South Pole. So the North Pole is actually a South Pole. It's not north. Maybe think of South Park. So right there, everyone's already going in the wrong direction because you're heading south. You're literally heading south if you're following the north direction on your compass because you're just going to what is going to connect to it. And really, the trick is, it's the thought that you're going in a direction, which is what allows for exploration and uh, experience, but it's not what's really occurring when you're doing that. And this is why people will never figure out the true map structure of the earth because there isn't one. And there isn't one because north and south are the same thing. It's two ends of the same pole. North is can be the top end or it can be the bottom end. It doesn't matter. South will be on whatever the opposite. It's not an opposite. It'll just be on the other end of it. They're both bound together. They're both connected. There's no difference between the two. It is the exact same thing. So when you're actually going away from what the compass says is north, it's compass for a reason, which I'll get to that too. You're going to end up in the same place as if you went to the north direction. You're going to end up in the exact same place. And it's because it's a looping mechanism, it's a looping system. If they're part of the same exact pole, how are you going to end up into a different place? You're not. The only reason you do is because of the belief that they're separated when they're not, and they never have been. And what would happen is if you were to follow the compass going north, it's a paradox. It's think of the Earth shaped like a CD, to make it simple, a disc. And there's a hole in the center. If I had a CD, I'd show you. But if you start traveling, say you're here, which your compass north is going to point to the middle, where they say that hole is. What is a hole but a portal? That's all a hole is, because everything is there, so it can take you anywhere. That's the whole thing with the hole. Same thing on the outside of the disc, of the looping mechanism of a disc, because there's fields that are looping everything. There's energetic fields, which is the firmament, looping all of this energy around. And if you were to travel, which you're going to be in the middle of the ocean at this point, so you are purely relying on a compass. The land is not going to be there because it would ruin the reality, which it would completely break the whole entire experience of what's going on here because of how it's actually working. You would end up pretty much everywhere at that point because you'd be looking through something. But to get back on the subject, if you were heading up and you headed north, 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 and you hit that hole, you're going to end up on the other side. Like you're going to go to that hole, you're going to be going north. All of a sudden, you're going to be down here, and you're still going to be going north. That's an infinite plane. It's an infinite looping mechanism. You will always be heading north if you're going north. Always. I'll guarantee that you will always be heading north if you go north. Same thing with south. You can be heading outwards of it from whatever the center would be, because we would never actually know that, but you would be heading south, 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 south. All of a sudden, you get to what would be the end of that field, and you would end up back going south again. The looping mechanism, and you would still be going south, and you would have no idea that you would think that you were still going, that there was still more to explore, there's still more to discover. It's a never ending journey, it's a never ending story at that point, because you're never going to get to what is the edge or what is the center, because it cannot exist in that way. If we are built on infinite consciousness, how can the earth be not be? The thing is that people that are believing in flat earth don't realize the magnitude of themselves, which also helps you realize the magnitude of everything else occurring out here. The the looping, the infinity is an eight. It's always coming back around. Which it could be a little different than I'm explaining. I'm explaining it in a very simple way, so that you get the idea of how it's just looping you. You could go off and keep going, and you're gonna be crossing into another dimension, basically. What would be the edge of this right here, where we are in this plane, this realm? You're going to, maybe it takes you up a level, maybe it takes you down a level. Who really knows? Because you would never realize what is actually occurring. There would just be more water. All of a sudden, there's more land, but it's different now. So, did you change into somewhere else, or is this just creating itself as you're going, or did you get reset on the disc? Think of like a CD player. The laser goes back and forth. Even on a hard drive, the disk, the header goes back and forth, reading the data back and forth. It's all there, but it needs to go back and forth. It needs to loop around to get it. And when you go through the loop, it's taking you to a slightly different place. So now the land's going to be different. Now the structures of all the land is different when you end up there, which so people are going to think that they're in a whole different place, which essentially you are. So they're thinking that, okay, I'm farther out, there's new land, there's different things here. Let me keep going and seeing what else I can find. There has to be something, an end out there. You keep going, there's more land and more, and it keeps going forever and ever and ever because you will never get to an end because there is not an end. In video games, like a lot of fighting games, it's a this the screen is a paradox. You can run off one end of the screen and you'll appear on the other side. It's a looping mechanism because there's really no end to it. Just like when you go to sleep, there is no end. It's like when you die, you don't know that you died ever. It doesn't happen. You'll be like on the brink of dying, but then you have consciousness again in some way, shape, and form. You will have no recollection of what was really in between there. That's why we represent it in so many ways because there's really no way to know exactly what death is, exactly what nothing would be, because we've really never been there because we are consciousness. If we are consciousness, how can we be in the unconsciousness? We we are, but we cannot be the unconsciousness because we would have nothing to work with at that point. Then to even take it up another notch, the body is actually the North Pole and the South Pole. The body is at the center of it all the time. You're always at the center. You're standing in the middle of the disc all the time, and it's all around you. Which people that are out exploring, trying to find new land, new places, new things, they're most of them do not see themselves as the center of all of it. So they're seeing all these things outside of them and things that they did not put there, even though you are always in the disc moves around you. You're the monad at the center of the clock. You have the arms. You move the time because you are time. And that's why we are actually the center of it. We are the North Pole. We are the South Pole. We are the pole itself. And depending on if we're thinking in mental thought or out here living in the physical, changes if we're in the South or the North, which gets into there's a reason the body has a spine. Raise and lower your energy. You can change how you are operating. That's why it's good to get out and put your feet on the ground because it will bring you into this life, into the reality of what's occurring here, and get you out stuck, get you out of the uh, the mental thought process that a lot of people get stuck in, which is what many flat earthers are stuck in. They're stuck in a mental thought process that they're in a physical environment. When if you would get out there and do things, put your feet on the ground, participate with these systems that are already there, you will see that it's interacting around you. It's interacting purely based on our own consciousness all the time. There are no coincidences. Everything happens because of a conscious focus and perception of it, and possibly a belief. If you hold on to beliefs, which is nothing wrong with beliefs, a belief is basically like a ritual. It's something that we are looping through ourselves to experience. But when you hold on to beliefs and think that the belief is all that it can be, then we get stuck somewhere. Then we don't allow ourselves to move anymore. We don't know that we are the center anymore. Because if you're the center of everything, there's no reason to hold on to beliefs. You can play with beliefs. You can explore beliefs. This is to be life. You go into different be lives. People like to say be lie. but it's life. The lie is the life. That's the thing. The lie is, or the life is the lie put on fire. You throw a F in there. The phi cycle, physical. You bring the lie into a physical place because we told ourselves a story. This is a story that we're telling ourselves. A lot of us are is about flat Earth, and we are on a plane that is enclosed by a firmament, and we are stuck. We are imprisoned, and it's imprisoning them as well because of that thought process. I'm here to break that shit. I probably many of people would have already left by this point. Uh, but let's keep going here. So our body is the center. It's really a placeholder because we can't see the center because there's a hole in the center. Have you ever seen our heart? If you well, there's a reason they say your heart is a vortex or a vacuum vortex that is pulling everything into it. It's a black hole. It's pulling all of the energy into it, but it's also spitting it back out because what comes out of a black hole but the light? It's the only thing that can get out of a black hole. Science has no idea how, but it happens. They're trying to tell you something. And we hide this from ourselves in this experience so that we can actually lie and have a story. We're literally hiding the the truth of our existence so that we can have this experience out here. So we put a placeholder, a doughboy, this body over it. We put these senses to filter how we shoot out and receive the light in different ways, and then we go out and do it. That's why our senses interact differently because they all have different filters on them besides our nose. Our nose doesn't have a filter. So the nose, that's why it's a nose. That's why it's an arrow. It's 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 the direction you're going. That's why dogs use their nose to find direction because you're always in the center and your nose knows where you are heading. Keep smelling, smell it out, and smile. So so there is no firmament as people would think there would be. What a firmament is, it keeps it's an energetic field or a toroidal field, which I'm also going. I'm going to. This is kind of going to go. It is very much going to go along with the model that Norb's World. If anyone knows his channel, go check out his channel. He just made a video on the uh, the egg theory of how the Earth is set up and expanded on it, which is a very good video. And hey Gary, and there's different toroidal fields, which are energetic fields that separate these different uh, planes of existence. And we can travel through these toroidal fields if we can raise what people like say their vibration or their energy. If you can get into a certain form of consciousness, you can go straight through it at any point. You can do this at any point. And but what the field does is hold the energy into this enclosure right here, into where we are, because it's going to allow uh, it doesn't allow the energy to get out. It recycles the energy. All this energy here is being recycled. And any energy that is released within this environment, it gets recycled back into the system. And hey Jordan. And which just goes in the concept of hot air. Hot air rises. And this is why global warming it exists in a way because hot air rises. So why would it be colder when you go higher up if hot air rises? Wouldn't it get warmer as you rise up? But we can see if in our houses, it's hotter the higher we go in the house. It's the higher you are, the warmer it is. The lower you get to the basement, or in the basement, the cooler it is. Why is that when we step outside into the world, that's the opposite? Why would that be? How does that make any logical sense to what's going on here? This is how hot air balloons work. This is how they say they mapped the world before through hot air balloons, which all you need is a big bag of like silk, some kind of material that insulates, throw some hot air in it, it'll lift you up because the hot air goes up. But the hot air is only going to go up so high because it's going to hit an energetic field that keeps it within the enclosure. And this is why global warming would occur because the uh, the more energy that we are burning, if we are burning fires, that is releasing energy into this enclosed atmosphere or toroidal or firmament, whatever word we want to use, and it's going to sit there until it gets recycled somehow back into the system. So it's going to build up if there's a lot of energy being burned off, and it's going to get eventually it's going to fall down. If it's going to get warmer, going down. Yet, why when we climb mountains does it get colder? How does that make sense? If hot air rises, how when we go up a mountain, when we go at a higher altitude, it gets colder and colder and colder. But then we can go down in valleys where it should be cooler, the lowest points in altitude under sea level. But we're still on the land. How would it get colder? How is that possible? Or how would it get warmer? Why is it warmer in the valleys? Why is it hotter in valleys? Death Valley, Phoenix. Why does it get so much warmer? You can go from Phoenix to Flagstaff, and you can change 50 to 60 degrees easy. How? But then when you go underground, the ground is cold though. If you go underground, it's cold. What is the ground? What is that threshold that is being crossed at that point? And where are we that our ground at this level, not the ground, the air at this level, closer to the bottom would be warmer, and as we go up, it gets cooler because we're on the other side. I'm sure people have heard we're in the shadow world. We're on the other side of it. We're upside down. When we go up, we're actually going down, which is why it's getting cooler. When we go down, we're actually going up, which is why it's getting hotter. But then when we go in our house, we flip the system around because now we're in our own domain. We've enclosed it in a different arc. We own that place. We do everything with it, which is why it happens in the reverse way. But what would happen if you put a house within a house? Let's see. I want to explain that. What else did I want to explain? I was talking to Nikki about all this earlier. So let me go through my head. What else? Dimensional traveling. I explained that with the north south poles, which you're to be going into different planes of existence. Just by traveling in one direction, seeing what you think is a direction, you're going to end up in different planes of existence without even realizing it necessarily. Which is that's the infiniteness of it. There's no end, there's no beginning because it all ended and started with you. That's it. But we hide that so that we can experience the game. But people out here don't seem that they're having too much fun with this game right now. So I think it's time for them to know who they are and who they aren't. This game has gotten too real for people out here. They're they're attacking each other over the shape of a goddamn place that they came into with no really recollection of how or why they're here for the most part or what's going on. So they choose to fight with each other over it. How does that make sense? Why would someone want to do that? So apple juice is really good. So let's see who is in the chat. Oh, this will definitely be posted, Jordan. So like right now, I'm really high in my mind, but I'm also allowing this energy to come out. I'm hot. I'm getting hot. That's what happens. Because it's the flow. It's the flu. I'm fluing right now. So I'm flowing. It's movement. That's you think and you let it out. You explore a thought and then you let it out. To hold on to it is to get trapped in it and lose yourself, and you're going to end up in some type of paradigm that you don't realize you're in then. You're going to end up walking around the same staircase, not being able to jump to a different plane or different time or different age of existence to experience something different. Hey Zen, your phone's dead. Your phone's always dead. The spirit and that's essentially what it's a everything is a uh like the Russian dolls, just as an onion, layers, 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 right? And what we put in our spirit also, different spirits that we put in our spirit changes our spirit, and then our spirit will change how we move and how we feel and how our body is moving about. I love Katash. Let me think if there's anything else that I wanted to say. The compass. So I was explaining earlier about the North and South Pole, how you are the North and South Pole, how I was explaining the disc, which there should be a CD laying around here. I don't see one. And if you're following the compass, which you're going to have to, because you're going to be in the middle of water, which water is infinity, it, there is no beginning and no end to it. That's all that you are going to see until you come to land. Come to land. You landed somewhere. Now you're somewhere new. Unless you end up in the same place, which could happen as well. You can keep traveling. You can leave uh, America. All of a sudden, you'll end up and you'll just be coming right back to it. It's completely possible for that to occur if your consciousness does not allow you to get out of that torial field, because it is going to keep that. If you feel that you are a physical body within this torial field, the field is going to keep you within it because it encloses the energy within it. If you're bearing fire from here and you're trying to bring it across somewhere else without releasing it, this is to hold on to beliefs of certain things, you're going to end up back in the same place. You're going to find the same land again, which is going to really, really make you question what the hell is going on. You're really going to think. Most people are like, oh shit, I'm really trapped here. I traveled north and I'm still moving north. I left off the top of Canada, traveling north into the sea, and now I ended up hitting South America or Australia or whatever, traveling north in the sea still. How does that work? So, and you would be following the compass. So the compass is a compass because you're just going to pass over the center because you would have no idea. It would be a theoretical center. This is why we're able to make a disc, a CD. This is a representation of the looping system that it is. That's why the CD literally just has a bunch of spirals on it. And then there's all those spirals put different bits and ones and zeros, different pits in there, which the pit gets created by a laser, gets burned. Which that also one thing I didn't mention about hot air. I'll go back to that too. Um, so you would say you're going north, so you're going to be going towards the center or south pole because that's what it'd be attracted to. You're going to hit it following your compass, and now you're going to come past it. You just went past it. That's it. That's what the compass is going to do. That's why it's called a compass. You'll go right past it. If you are relying on a compass for navigation, that is not how you navigate in the middle of an ocean. If you're navigating by a compass in the middle of an ocean, you're probably not going to leave this toroidal field. You have to be navigating by yourself. You have to know that I'm going somewhere specific or I'm going somewhere new because you don't have a limitation of what could be, and you're not following a directional system at that point because directions is just the direction is what you choose. That's why you have the nose. That's why you have the arrow because you're the director. That's why you got the fingers. You're the conductor. You got wands. You're the magician here. You can change this in whatever way you would like. In the hot air, the energy that is being sent into this place, this specific field through the sun, which the sun is clearly beaming out hot energy while the moon is pulling out the cold, or is pulling out the hot, which that's recycling system right there. And if that can't keep up with the amount of things that we are burning off, then it's going to get hotter within this place. It's very, very simple. But the sun is beaming down hot energy, which falls to our ground because that's what it's attracted to. Hot's attracted to cold. Same thing as north and south. That's why it ends up on the cold ground, and it also ends up in the cold uh, toroidal field layer or the Van Halen belt, whatever we want to call it. It's going to be hot on this side, but as soon as we cross it, it's going to be cold. That's why they say there's lava in the earth after you get down so far because you're in the cold and all of a sudden you're going to get back to the hot or the sun. There's a sun inside of us, inside of the sun inside of us too, but inside of the earth. It's a whole nother system. If you were to go down that way, you can go in any way with this, and it's going to happen in the same facet. You're going to be in the hot, then you're going to be in the cold, then you're going to be in the hot, then you're going to be in the cold. It's going to keep repeating itself back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But it gets expanded out due to perceptional focus. And then we can start creating things. We can start exploring things. We can start making stories and different tales that follow behind us. And then we turn around and run back through it because we create the story backwards or upside down. We make the story upside down so that we can, or we're making it right side up, but we do it in a reverse manner so that we can walk through it backwards and it seems like it's going forwards. Because we just turn around and start walking down that tail that we had left behind us. And we orchestrate it in a way that is contingent and it continues in a flowing fashion for our enjoyment. Which is all we're doing in many, many ways. The the sun is a portal in and out. You can go through that. You can get through the sun. Probably not if you use like a jetpack or an airplane and try to, because then you're trying to take the energy that is here out. They can't do that. You just take the consciousness. Consciousness is not that energy that is within the system, because the sun is always giving the same amount that the moon is always taking. So it's always the same balance in here. And if we try to leave, this is why in Egypt they say that you can't take the physical matter into death, because you can't cross over through a portal, which is now we're gonna go into death, which we're not even gonna really know that, and we're gonna end up on the other side. That's all that we're gonna do. We're gonna end up on the other side. That's why they say the sun is a black hole. It's a black hole in the center of it, because the sun is your heart. Your heart has a black hole in the center of it. The sun has a black hole in the center of it. Yet your heart pushes out all of the light frequencies that we are seeing. Yeah, that's everything. That's everything I wanted to cover. I hope that was enjoyable for everyone, and expanded everyone's consciousness into a to getting out of the paradoxical way of thinking in such a physical way, which I know there's a lot of people that are never going to get out of thinking that way, which is fine. They're going to eventually go to the grave and they'll be back. They'll be right back. And we can do it all over again. Like, they have a completely fresh slate at that point to start fresh. Because we can either bring our consciousness with us. This is the idea of having a consciousness of diamond and a heart of a feather, to not carry anything in your heart, to have an empty heart. Doesn't mean that you can't experience this place, but it's to still hold on to what you know you are and what you know you aren't. Then you can move with your consciousness and your memories freely. Because memories are not energy necessarily. It is how energy was formed at one point. But if we hold on to these memories as they are physical things that we actually experience in some physical manner, we are not going to be able to move with our memories into different uh, planes, different realms, different dimensions. We're not going to bring it through death. That's why people who really think they are physical and that they're in a physical reality, and that when they die, that is it, or when they die, they go to heaven, whatever it may be, there's a belief of some physical thing going on, or a belief outside of themselves, who will end up here again, not remembering, which I'm sure is a lot of the reason why people get vaccinated and all these different things. It's just to facilitate the loss of memory, because the person needs to start fresh so that they can actually figure out what they truly are. Which is, it's funny how a diamond, the only reason a diamond shines bright is because it's cut like that. But it's very, there's a reason the diamond is used in the way that it is and it's so valuable. It's very symbolic. It's Diamonds are ugly. You go to a raw diamond, they're ugly. They're brown and black and yellowish. They're not shiny at all. They're very, very dull. But then they take that and they start cutting it in different ways, and it becomes shiny. Now it can shine light. It's to hide the ugliness of what it is. But people get stuck to that shimmer of it, which is to get stuck into the physical reality. That's why they can charge so much for these same things. People are fools. A, a raw diamond is kind of like your heart is raw. Your heart is a blob. It's like a placenta too. It's just a blob. But that's where all the beauty comes out of the ugly. But then eventually, if you get stuck in the beauty, the ugly comes out of that. And you have to see that's what you have to see. It's not is how it all works together. Cannot have one without the other one. 11. Your pillars. Why it's a pair of docks? There's two docks. Ships come in, ships leave. Ships come in on the water to go to land. They land somewhere and are lent energy. That's why they put the black ash over your third eye during Lent, because it's representing of the energy that comes in that is lent to you out of it, out of the darkness, out of the water. You come in on that one dock, boats come in on that dock, then boats leave on the other dock. But you can switch that. You can go either way because they're truly the same exact thing. It's just one's doing some particular functions and the other one's doing what the other one isn't. They split it up in many different ways. It's interesting, Katesh. You are the light. Which absolutely, we absolutely are. But we're also the darkness. You should put that on there too. You are the light of the world and the shadow it creates. We are. That's why we have a shadow. Because the more light we shine, the more shadows there are. It's all relevant though, DSR. But all right, I'm gonna end this here. I don't want to make this go really long. And if anyone missed it, go rewatch it. It's a great video. A lot of good information. I will speak to everyone later.